Get started here in just a minute. Give everyone a chance to join the room and get prepared to be bombed with new housing knowledge. Just another few seconds. Okay, Katie, you ready to roll?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. We are ready to roll. Uh, here in Atlanta, it's rainy and not hot. I don't know what it's like in DC, but
It's
you know,
nice.
it's nice in DC today. Okay, well, let's go ahead. Let's get going here. Start off again. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for this quarter's Silverton Speaker Series. Got already starting off tongue-tied. This is going to go great. Speaker Series episode. My name is Corey Knight. I'm the Director of Sales Training and Development here at Silverton Mortgage. And I also get to host the Speaker Series, which means I am fortunate enough to meet a lot of great people across the country. And this quarter here, I get to introduce you to yet another great person. I want to introduce Katie. Catherine, aka Katie Watts, is responsible for the overall strategy, operation, and direction of approximately 60 staff charged with delivering services, grants, and technical assistance to approximately 240 local organizations chartered as member of the NeighborWorks network. NeighborWorks partners with its network of excellence to advance its mission of creating opportunities for people to live in affordable homes, improving their lives, and strengthening their communities. The Field Operations Division includes 4 regions responsible for managing NeighborWorks America's relationship with the network organization and other partners within their region, a national team that leads corporations' grant-making administration. And we'll break that down a little bit more because that was a mouthful and everyone's like, okay, what was that? Just so you know, Ms. Watts, she has over 20 years experience in housing, community development, and nonprofit management. Prior to joining NeighborWorks America in 2011, she worked for the Missouri Housing Development Commission, the Missouri State Senate Appropriations Committee, Habitat for Humanity Kansas City, and the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. Now we know why she's in DC. And Ms. Watts also has a master's degree in public administration from the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs at Syracuse University, and a bachelor's degree in international relations from William Jewell College in Liberty, Missouri. Well, Katie, thank you so much. That was a lot to
It
kind of go over.
was.
But here's the thing. One thing that's great is we have all that background. I just got a quick lay down before we get to dive into all the good, juicy stuff that everyone likes. Um, we have to state that for the groundwork, the opinions and interpretations expressed are solely those of Katie Watts and do not necessarily position of Silverton Mortgage. And the session will last approximately 30 to 45 minutes. There will be a Q&A at the end. So if you just click the Q&A button on your screen there, it will go ahead and allow you to ask your questions, and we can pose all these to Katie at the end. We are recording this episode, and it'll be available on Silverton Mortgage LinkedIn webpage for your future viewing. And really, let's talk about NeighborWorks because I've mentioned 240 and everything. And one thing that's great is you are helping to cancel the noise that homeownership's not affordable. So, like for all of you real estate agents and everything on here, there's a lot out there that we don't know about or don't. It's not brought to our attention that's making things affordable. And for those of you that are not familiar with NeighborWorks America, how does your network help like these agents and builders and builders also as far as development wise? How does your network help people access affordable housing and homeownership?
Yeah, thanks, Corey. So I'm really excited to be here with you all today. As Corey said, my name is Katie Watts. I'm from NeighborWorks America. And so NeighborWorks America is a congressionally chartered nonprofit organization. So what that means, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we were created by an act of Congress almost 50 years ago. And as Corey mentioned, our mission is all about how to create opportunities for people to live in affordable homes, improve their lives, and strengthen their communities. We primarily achieve that mission through our partnership with a network of close to 250 local community-based nonprofits all across the country. They're in every single state, here in the District of Columbia and also in the island of Puerto Rico. These network organizations provide a broad spectrum of support in the housing and community development arena. So some of them produce affordable homes, so both on the for sale and the rental side. Many of them provide home buyer education and counseling. They may provide financial coaching or financial capability services, which could include credit and budgeting support. Some of them even administer down payment assistance programs. Some of them do lending. So they really sort of provide all sorts of services in the housing space. In addition, some of them provide workforce development, small business support, education or youth programs. They're really sort of focused on what are the needs of their communities, and how do they sort of help meet those. But I'm going to talk mostly today about the homeownership aspect, or the homeownership support, since I know that's of interest to you guys. So they sort of provide this broad range of services, and what NeighborWorks America does is we provide grants to them, training, technical assistance. We help the organization sort of like learn from each other, and so really like identifying what are like best practices or promising practices in the areas of work, so that if something really innovative is happening in Atlanta, well, hey, that may make sense. An adapted version of that could work maybe in Kansas City or in rural Montana. So that's really the sort of how the network works and sort of our role in that piece of it.
Okay, so just to kind of bring it back. So what you're saying is basically it doesn't matter where you are. If they contact you, you will get them in touch with their local agency that can help make their clients, become homeowners, correct?
Yeah.
Through all the same that boy, Corey, that
It
was
was a much quicker way to say it, but I wanted to cover the full breadth. But yes, you got it.
But no, I mean that's great because again, we everyone talks about, oh, homeownership's not affordable, and yeah, it is more expensive and it is harder, but there are so many options out there. We just got to explore it. So I'm excited to kind of bring more of that today. And there's more than one path to getting a house, as you know. I mean, because I know that you provided them. You also help with rent to help people get people into houses later, and all different types of things. And with you doing this, what's the best way for, like, if you're an agent or builder on here, to help get future homeowners on the journey? Because I know education's probably a lot. Could you go into kind of, if an agent sends someone to you, what does that look like in order for them to become a homeowner?
Yeah. So, when a household reaches out to a NeighborWorks organization, let's say they're interested in becoming a homeowner, the NeighborWorks network organizations, they really sort of meet that household where they're at, right? And because not everyone's ready to be a homeowner immediately. And so the purpose of home buyer education is really to sort of demystify the home buying process, particularly for first-time home buyers, maybe potential home buyers whose parents didn't own a home, so that's not part of like what they were sort of familiar with, or families, where it's been a long time since they've owned a home and sort of have questions. And so, there's usually a combination of courses that can be like in a group setting or in person or online. They also do like one-on-one counseling, working with, the home buyer or potential home buyer. So they may cover things like the steps of purchasing a home, budgeting and credit. What does it mean to be sort of mortgage ready? What are the expectations they should have for like down payment costs and closing costs? What are sort of local state resources that might be available to help them, including are there like down payment assistance programs that they could take advantage of? The key is really that these educators and counselors are sort of a trusted third-party source that the potential homebuyer can, talk to and ask questions without feeling pressure or sort of feeling like, it's bad to be asking questions. It also, like I said, helps them understand what resources may be available in their community to help them become a homeowner. I'll say also like it's, sometimes people's perception of like who this is helpful for, may not be sort of as full of what's really true. I mean, like people who are, again, low and moderate income households often are like your teachers, maybe first responders in your community, like people who are starting out in their career. But really, like the home buying process for someone who hasn't been through it yet can be intimidating. And so, it's important to sort of help, as I said, demystify that process, help people really access resources, meet them where they're at, and help them work on sort of what it would take for them to become a homeowner. I'll share, I mean, I've worked in housing for over 20 years. And when I bought my first house a few years ago, I took an online homebuyer education course just because like I knew a lot of stuff, but it was like really helpful to sort of help me sort of work through the steps and make sure I was putting all the pieces together. So I think it's a great resource, really for anyone.
No, I think that is fantastic. I think that's great, and I love the fact that you address so many times we kind of tend to pigeonhole what home ownership classes and first time home buyer and down payment assistance. And, I just look at, my oldest child's 30 years old and her husband just bought their first house. And she's like, Dad, I got to get some information, all this stuff. I'm like, you do know I'm in the world. Yeah, Dad, but you're old and you don't. But people just don't realize what they can do. And I love the fact that you provide education. And that's something I think all agents on this call really it'd be great to do is and we'll give you information later on how to connect with NeighborWorks America in order to say, hey, let's reach out to them. They can help guide you down this path of ownership because there are like I know here in Atlanta we actually have a home ownership center which does all the DPAs and the counseling, and we're one of 250 almost that is great that you have this. And so for you to be able to educate people, because it's even changed over time on how it all works. Now, if with agents having this for them, it's something that I think that I think they should say, hey guys, it doesn't matter if you've ever owned a house before or not. Just let me know. I can put you in the right direction, and you are that right direction. So, with affordability being one of the biggest concerns in housing right now, what should agents know about connecting, helping clients move from I can't afford this to here's a realistic path? What's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, so I think it's important to acknowledge that it is, home purchasing a home is expensive in many markets, and like those costs have risen. So I think you have to acknowledge that, and affordability is like a legitimate challenge and a concern in too many communities across the country. Um, and at the same time, in many communities, households are probably closer to homeownership than they think. There's, sometimes even, sometimes it's sort of like where is the housing? Sometimes, people think, oh, I couldn't sort of become a homeowner, but they really can't afford they are able to afford the monthly payment, but maybe what may be stopping them or what provides that barrier is many times, particularly for first-time home buyers, is sort of the down payment and closing costs. And so, those local network organizations who provide home buyer education and counseling, they really stay up to date on what's available in terms of down payment assistance. Maybe there's forgivable loan programs. Maybe either the locality or the state has resources. And sometimes these may, be available specifically for first-time home buyers. So it's a great resource. And those local NeighborWorks organizations sort of are familiar with all of those. I think another point is like sometimes some of those particularly like public resources, whether that's the state or the city, they may actually require some form of home buyer education as part of the package of sort of qualifying for those resources. So it's great for, I think, real estate agents and lenders sort of be aware that this, NeighborWorks network organizations can be a great partner and a resource in helping households that they're working with sort of access those resources. And I'll just say too, like sometimes, we use the term first-time home buyer, but sometimes, depending on the resources, that also includes somebody who hasn't owned a home for a long time. So again, it's really important to sort of, as part of the education process, learn about what's available in the community, and particularly based on that household's, circumstances. The other thing is, sometimes, uh, part of I think the home buying education process is sort of being realistic about like what is affordable to that household and sort of like, so then they can see, okay, well, where like at this income level, I can achieve homeownership, but like this is the sort of, like payment level that is affordable, and sort of where are the houses available sort of with that, in that sort of price range. And so it may be, you know, um, in some communities it may be a little bit further out, or it may be, people sort of have to take that into account, that you may not be moving into your dream home and your first home, but like it's really, homeownership can still be like a really important, like long-term, like wealth creation process. So, or journey.
I agree. I love kind of what you said because really we have to. I saw sorry, some of it's blamed is social media because they see everybody in these big houses. Like even my daughter, when she went to buy, she goes, "Dad, I want a house like yours." I'm like, "You do realize I've been in my career over 30 years, okay? I have been in my career longer than you've been alive. So this is where you go to." And so they got their house and for the fact that like you talk about wealth building, you have to start somewhere. This is the largest investment most anybody's ever going to do. And to have that realistic that like you said, it may not be your dream house. It's not, but guess what? It's your start. And how many stories do you hear about people like I'm the first of all my family to own a home? And that's
Yeah,
something you may
it's pretty
possibly.
special. Sometimes when I'm traveling and visiting local network organizations, there's been a few times when I've happened to be there, like when a buyer sort of like gets into their first time home, where you get to sort of interact with people who've achieved that, as I'm sure like the listeners on this call have, and it's just like it really can change people's lives, and changes sort of the trajectory of their family. And sometimes, and like it's just really special to be able to be a part of that. And I know that the listeners on the call are get to have that sort of experience, which is pretty cool.
Well, very cool. Like the one thing that you said, I love the fact that you use the word demystifying because uh, first time home buyer doesn't mean this is their first home sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may be they just have not owned a home in the last 3 or 5 years or something like that. And they get to qualify again. And one thing we take a look at is dream home. And you just talked about sometimes the first home is the dream home. And that's the one that brings the tears because none of the family has ever seen that before, and that is fantastic that you do that. Now, to kind of go back a little bit on the education. So, if an agent brings a buyer to you and says, "Hey, go there," they do that. Is that something you counsel them through and then kind of work them back to the agent, or say, "Hey, these people are now home ready," or kind of how does that work a little bit?
Yeah, it really depends on like the partnership, and sort of like,
Okay.
it can look like a lot of different ways. Some of our network organizations have like, partnerships with like real estate agents, where the real estate agent might sort of bring, and refer potential home buyers or to the organization, and then they, continue working with them throughout that process. I think too, one of the things that I'll just mention, I mean, like, uh, this like 90 so last year the NeighborWorks network created over 17,000 new homeowners, so they helped over 17,000 families across the country become homeowners, and over 90% of them were first-time home buyers. So I just say that to say, like, like we have this network has a lot of depth of experience sort of in that space, and I think can be a great, again, a great resource to real estate agents and others who are saying, hey, we've got a first-time home buyer. They've got a lot of questions. Certainly the real estate agent may be answering some of those, but they might be like, this person, could maybe, benefit from some more resources, and sort of being aware of like what's out there. So I just
Okay.
offer those numbers just to sort of say there's, we've got a lot of experience in this space.
I think that is great. I mean, you're talking 17,000 people. How many agents may have had another man able to help one or two more people if they just dove in and say, okay, let me explore every opportunity to help every client I
Yeah.
possibly can. And the fact that NeighborWorks assisted 17,000 just last year, that without you may not have, they may have said it's not feasible. So I love the fact that you're going against all the noise out there and 17,000, I keep saying that out loud. That's a lot of people. You didn't say that during our rehearsal. Okay.
Oh,
So
sorry, I was waiting.
So now with that, okay, I'm going to take one of your words and I'm going to kind of go from it, use the word build, okay, which you talk
Yeah.
about building wealth, which again, homeownership, you are building wealth, as far as, hey, you get this one to your next one, to your dream, to kind of what, whatever lies next for you in your path. But when you talk about build, sometimes you help builders
Yeah.
and assist them with, hey, guess what? Let's make homeownership affordable for lots. Let's build new homes. Can you talk about how you partner with builders to help create that affordable, to kind of fill that affordability gap in new construction?
Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate you sort of naming the fact that there is like an affordability gap in new construction because what we see in a lot of communities is the homes that are being built are not necessarily in the sort of starter home range or affordable to first time home buyers. And so NeighborWorks network organizations often partner with, others in their community, whether that's builders, to sort of help sort of meet some of those needs. A lot of times, housing is an ecosystem, and the NeighborWorks network organizations sort of play a part of that. Some of them actually do build and develop first time like homes that could be affordable to first time home buyers, sort of like a starter home in the starter home range. Sometimes they partner with for-profit builders who are providing those resources, and then or sort of providing doing the construction, and then the network organization provides the counseling and education. It really varies from community to community, and so but what I just want to like reiterate like the sort of need for houses that are affordable to low to moderate income households. So and that's where I think the partnerships between builders and NeighborWorks network organizations can be really fruitful.
Yeah, I think that's great because I mean, even agents out there could look and say, "Hey, what builders do you partner with, in whatever area of the country they're in, to do that?" But then any builders listening, or agents, if any of you are on-site agents, to sit there and reach out for your builder, because I know, like even like who we partner with, they're doing some of that in different parts of the country, is building much more affordable or attainable homes, as you were, and. So for them to do that, any builder could reach out, because I think, to sit there and you look at the average cost of a house now, I'm going, there's no way I'd pay that much for a house. But then I realize I don't have a choice. That's what they are today. But for them to be able to I have this and this to service needs, that just, one, of course, you get more clients, you get more word of mouth, but two, you also get a different level of satisfaction, correct?
Yes.
In doing that. And so for them, if they're out there, they just reach out just like an agent would say, "Hey, I'm a builder in like you were in Kansas City for a while. I'm a builder in Kansas City. And how do we partner in order to be able to help more homeowners?" So they can reach out to you and kind of team up for the same thing, correct?
Yeah, they could reach out to their local network organization and sort of explore what the opportunities are for partnership there. So, I'll say I sort of alluded to this at the beginning. Each NeighborWorks network organization is a little bit different. They're
Mhm.
all independent, and they're really, responding to the needs and opportunities in their community. And so, yeah, I would just encourage interested builders or real estate agents to reach out to their local NeighborWorks network organization and explore like, what sort of possibilities are out there, what are they already doing, but also what could be possible. Because I think, there's a lot of alignment, even though we may play different parts of like the process or play different roles sort of in that process. Like we're all sort of working towards a common goal, which is helping households have good housing that they can afford and that can be a great place for their families. So it's lots of room for alignment there.
Yeah, I love one thing you said is it's not NeighborWorks way, it's that local markets way. And that
Yeah.
is fantastic because, I live here in Metro Atlanta. Our company is spread all over this country, and it's different housing prices, different areas, and there's different assistance needs for different areas according. And the fact that if you're an agent out there, they're going to tailor to your community,
Yeah.
not what NeighborWorks says. Here's everything. Everybody's got to do this. Here's what's happening in Columbus, Ohio right now, and
Yeah.
here's how we're helping. That is fantastic to hear. I mean, that is great. Now, one thing that comes with homeownership is as you know, because you are a homeowner too, is responsibility. I mean, it comes quick because I remember just talking to my daughter and she going, "No, we saved this much money to put down," and I'm like, let's not do that. Let's put like, well, why? I'm like, do you own a lawnmower? No, I didn't think about that. What happens if the water heater goes out? Didn't think about that. What when someone buys and kind of the counseling that you put them through at NeighborWorks and all the affiliates that you have, how do they help sustain this homeownership over time? What are the things they do to help instill that this is a marathon, it's not a sprint?
Yeah, well, I think, I appreciate that you use the term sustain because that's really a focus of the NeighborWorks Network is how do we help support sustainable homeownership? Some of it is like an education gap, making sure that as people are buying homes, like the sort of education content focuses on the fact of like really the full cost of owning, sort of like what you were alluding to with your daughter, the need to be able to do repairs, sort of keep up, preventative, ongoing maintenance on your home, making sure that you have emergency savings, thinking about sort of long-term budgeting, thinking about sort of like your property taxes and insurance, and sort of, being aware of how that may impact your mortgage over time, even if you have, a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, your property insurance may be going up, and that's certainly something we're seeing, in a lot of, or your property taxes and insurance may be going up, which we see a lot, particularly on the insurance side. Part of it is pre-purchase education, but also a lot of NeighborWorks Network organizations also offer post-purchase education and counseling. And that's really aimed at helping, again, sort of homeowners sort of know sort of and understand like all the things that they'll need to be taken care of once they get into the house. And this really intended to sort of help avoid surprises so that there's not sort of like a surprise that pops up that can put their homeownership at risk. Another thing that we've been really focused on in the NeighborWorks Network, particularly over the last couple of years, is like property inheritance and estate planning issues and making sure that households can actually sort of pass on, the wealth that's created through their home, and sort of making sure that those steps are in place so that it is not just sort of like wealth creation for that household, but it really can become a generational wealth asset for a family.
That's
Because I think,
fantastic.
oh yeah, no,
No,
it's
keep going. You got more, you bring more. I'm
no,
all
I
in.
was just gonna say, like there's both sort of an aspect of that for like that benefits that individual, it benefits that family, but it also really benefits the broader community. We wasn't I got my start at NeighborWorks during the foreclosure crisis. So like we've seen what happens when to communities even when that homeownership is not sustained over time. And so the NeighborWorks Network tries really hard to not just, again, sort of create homeowners, but to really create homeowners who can sustain over for the long haul.
Okay, no, I think that's great because there you mentioned some things that I even forget about. Like, when you think about long term, I love the fact you talk about like the emergency savings, but I don't even think they think about, oh, I have to get insurance. Yeah, it's fine, or I don't even know if they realize, oh, my power bill is going to go up quite a bit compared to what I've been, just all those little nuances. Now, one thing, because we talked about before, I do want to go into because the agents are going to hear about it, is you help people rent too. And agents like, no, 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 don't go there, don't go there. But really, there's the one thing I loved about it. Yes, you assist them, but there's a plan. It's not just we help forever renters. Their NeighborWorks put together a plan to help those renters that can't have it right now, that need some. Can you talk to us about what NeighborWorks does to help people maybe in the meantime become homeowners, but help them with their rent in the meantime?
Sure. So the NeighborWorks Network, again, independent nonprofits all across this country, they collectively own and manage over 217,000 like affordable rental units across the country. So that's like an important piece of the housing puzzle as well. I know this June is homeownership month. We're focused on homeownership in this conversation, but not everybody is ready to be a homeowner at that moment, right? And so that affordable rental housing is an important piece of the puzzle. Many network organizations who operate that rental housing are sort of also working with the some of their tenants who are interested in becoming homeowners, maybe sort of access the same type of home buyer education, right? Or other NeighborWorks organizations, even who don't have affordable rental in their own portfolio, they work with renters who are interested in becoming homeowners and really meet. Again, I said this earlier, but I think what's great about homeownership education and counseling, and particularly the work done by the NeighborWorks Network organizations who work in this space, is they really meet households where they're at. Everyone on this call knows, like, not all of the people who come, reach out to you who are interested in homeownership are ready and are actually able to buy a home at that point, even with great down payment assistance, even with sort of like finding, a home that might be affordable in their range. Like, they may have credit issues, budgeting issues, other things that they need to work with. And, sometimes NeighborWorks Network organizations work with, potential home buyers for like even like a couple of years to help them get to the place where they can address sort of like what may be hindering them from accessing homeownership. And so, it's really these organizations are often partnering with households sort of in the long term. And I think also like can be a resource, in thinking about for listeners on the call of like people who may not be ready to buy a home now, but like they're working towards that. And so, I think it's again part of that housing ecosystem where we're helping households who have that goal sort of achieve it, even if it takes them a little bit longer. And in the meantime, they need affordable rental housing. And so it's other parts of the NeighborWorks network provide that as well.
I think that's great because here's what you got to look at. You can't, agents are always looking at, okay, where's my next one? Where's my next one? This is to do something like this, they're building a future pipeline, of clients that will close maybe 12 months from now, 24 months from now. Because I know with NeighborWorks, if all this counseling is involved and you're going, okay, guess what? Been a year. Have you been doing the work? Are you doing the work? Okay, because if you want to renew, we need to see you're doing the work. That can really help guide those people toward ownership. Because if they're willing to do the work, you're going to have someone that has that sustainability, like you said. And so I love the fact that you help with there to get them here, and not everybody thinks about that because sometimes, like you said, when you think about rent help, you're like, okay, they're going to be forever renting because they got rent help. No, we're going to help now to get you to where you want to be. And I think that it's more of a stepping stone than a landing place. So I think that's awesome. Now, for all the agents and builders listening right now, I know we give you a very wide lens. I mean, Katie is obviously she's got the knowledge, but she's got almost 250 agencies out there that are there to help you. And it's about you and your business and you helping everyone in your community. Again, I like the word you meet them where they're at and help them with homeownership. What's the first step an agent, a lender, if you're another lender out there and you're going, how do I participate in this so I can help those clients too and things like that? Or a builder, what do they need? If they want to connect with locally, what's the best way for them to go about doing this?
Yeah, definitely. So the first step is you can go to the NeighborWorks America website, which is www.neighborworks.org. And then on that website, we have a section all about our network, and there's a network directory on there. And so you can actually search, based on where you're at, look to see sort of where is the nearest NeighborWorks network organization. Some of them, serve, may operate like city or metropolitan area wide. Some of them work in rural areas. They may cover several counties. Some of them operate statewide or even across states. So like you can check them out. There's links to sort of their websites from there. You can, look at what they provide, learn a little bit about them, and then really reach out. Also, of course, you can always follow NeighborWorks America on our socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, etc., for resources and updates. But really, if you like use that network directory that's on our website, and we can, that you can reach out to those organizations and just explore like what's possible, like learn about what they're doing and how that may, meet, work with like what you're trying to do in your community. And also, I think it's a great way to just develop a partnership where you're sharing about what you're hearing. Like, what are you hearing from, the clients that you're working with that may be could help inform sort of what the NeighborWorks Network organization is doing. They may be able to share what they're hearing in terms of, from the people that they're working with, in terms of, again, like how do you explore a partnership that supports, more affordable housing and attainable homeownership in your community. So.
I love what you said. I want to focus in on the part where discover. Don't just look it up. Don't just click on the site and say, oh look, here's mine in Detroit. Let me. I've got it here now. If I ever have someone, I'll do it. Basically, really make a connection, because reach out to them, because I learned a lot. I didn't know that you help builders. I didn't. There's so much that I still don't know unless I talk to a local affiliate of what is available. So if you're an agent or builder out there, don't just look them up. Make the connection, make the call, sit down. They can sit down with a counselor there or someone from that organization and go, here's what we do in order to figure out, okay, here's how I can help other people with this. And at the same time, of course, you're a for-profit business yourself, so you have to do that. But to be able to leverage these resources to open it up, I always make the illustration. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, Amish people, everywhere, and all the horses have blinders on it, and that's where we go through life so many times. This is all I can do. This is all I can see. But this takes those blinders off and sees all the potential for all the people out there that didn't think they had any. So I love the fact that you don't just offer information, you offer a connection.
Yeah.
So make sure if you do that, reach out, make the connection, be part of it, because if you're part of it, then the joy of giving back is really the biggest thing. Now I want to go ahead. We're kind of come near the end of our time here, but Katie obviously has the knowledge, and there's questions I probably didn't even dive into that some of y'all have. But if you have a question that you would like to ask Katie, please click the Q&A button at the bottom, and I would love the opportunity to have her answer the question for you. So go ahead and throw them in there now. Elizabeth, glad you got your your echo fix. So go ahead. Here's your chance. Throw your questions in there and give a chance for Katie to answer them. Because I guarantee the agents on this call know that the affordability is tough and that it's there, because I know we have people that do DPA, and when they go on out, they always end up with something they're able to help someone out with. So go ahead, put your questions in and we will get her to answer them. So I'll give you, okay, here we go. Okay, it's coming up now. Here we go. Okay, how can real estate and mortgage professionals talk about affordable renter, starter homes, long-term planning as part of the broader path to sustainable homeownership? There's a big one for you, Katie.
Well, I think it is really understanding that it is a journey, and that there are different entry points, and that, where a household is today is not sort of where they're going to end up, right? And so, and really, I think it's important for real estate professionals and mortgage professionals to encourage people, households or people who are interested in attaining homeownership to sort of see the long view of that, because again, it's not just about today, and it may take some households a little bit longer to get there, but it is achievable and attainable. And so I think just kind of having that in mind, and knowing that there are resources, again, to sort of meet people where they're at and work with them to get to homeownership if that's their goal.
No, I think that's great. I guess one thing to look at is, like, one thing we see that's hurting attainability today is even like these little places like Amazon. You don't have to pay for it all right now. You can make it over 4 payments, and people buy stuff that way, which that's what the homeownership counseling does. It helps you understand all that, because I think people go, oh, I can afford that. I can afford that. I can afford that. And they don't realize all the little things they said yes to keep them from saying no to the big thing that they really want.
Yeah.
And so would you advise agents just to sit through a home buyer counseling just so they have that insight and perspective?
I think, again, like if they reach out to like a NeighborWorks organization through sort of our website, I would encourage them, to talk to the organization about, like, could they sit in on a class? Like, is there ways that also maybe it's an opportunity for them to like talk to a class. Like sometimes, that's not from like a selling perspective, but from a education perspective, because we find that a lot of times like with in the courses, like it's really helpful to have like real estate professionals or others sort of like from the industry talking to the classes. So that might be an opportunity to not only sort of like for them to hear, but also there may be some benefit for the participants as well.
That's fantastic. So I got another question here. What's the best way for lenders and agents to build a referral relationship with their local neighbor works and other organizations?
Yeah, again, I would say reach out to the organization and talk to them about what their how they sort of handle referrals. And some of them have like established sort of like referral programs or where, where they sort of say like here's a list of sort of professionals that we're familiar with and that we work with. They usually are not going to say just like one name, but like they'll say here's sort of the ones that we work with. And so I would encourage like interested agents to sort of reach out to the local network organization and just specifically even ask them, do you have a referral program? How do you handle referrals? How can we build a partnership where like the network organization gets to know them and knows if that may be a good fit. So
I
we do that.
think get involved. Get involved would probably be the best way to
Yeah.
physically get involved. Like you said, be a source of knowledge, a subject matter expert as these counselors go out there and talk about. Give them your knowledge. Now, okay, I got a couple more popped in here. Now, how do agents better identify clients who may not think they're ready to buy, but become mortgage ready with home buyer education counseling, down payment assistance? What should an agent look for if they're hearing hesitations? What should they look for to say, hey, ask these questions and this is kind of the way to go? Do you have any tips like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're getting those sorts of questions, I would, again, like having a relationship with the local NeighborWorks organization, will help they sort of be a source that they can refer them to. I mean, as I said, we believe that like homebuyer education is really valuable for any homeowner. So, if you have a client that has those questions, I sort of refer them because as I said, like it's if you haven't gone through it before, it's not something that you know or necessarily understand. And better informed, buyers help, I think, be again sort of more sustainable home buyers. Like they may become like repeat customers of yours even then at that point because they, I think sort of showing that you're um willing to sort of connect them with that sort of like knowledge opportunity is like to me that's some you know uh also reflects well on like the agent, right? Because it's like you're trying to care about them getting into the right home and in the right situation.
And I think it goes back to what you said earlier. They need to go, if you're in Phoenix, you need to go meet the NeighborWorks in Phoenix because
Yeah.
they will tell you what the standard things are that they've seen over the years they've been doing it. Say, here's how you help you realize you have someone that's best suited for us because this is the pattern we've seen. So like it goes back to really kind of getting involved again. And I love the fact that you talk about, hey, if you want business, that's great, but you got to you give to get, but really you just give to give because that's kind of where, you can't outgive in all honesty. You can give, but you cannot give because you're always rewarded either which way. Now, let me see here. Resale versus new construction. Which one do you recommend? Builder sometimes has lower rates, uh, but sometimes it's easier to negotiate with sellers. Is that a local thing also, or is that something that
I would say we need both, right? Like the
uh
reality is we have a supply shortage in many communities. And so we need new construction to help with that, but we also like need great well-maintained resale options in communities as well. So I would say I will not pick one of those, but I'd say it takes all of it, and it really depends on the household and what they're looking for, right? So
okay. Um, okay. One, it's just, I guess, last question here, because I just realized we are out of time. Sometimes some people like the FHA foreclosures on the rise. There's research show instead of down payment, it's better for buyers to save those funds for a larger down payment for emergencies, and that maybe not have make as large a down payment. Are you aware of any programs or savings requirement that's collected at closing for emergencies? Is there anything like that says, hey, at closing, we're going to hold back this much and to kind of like an escrow thing? Which is a really, really good question.
This is a great question. Nothing's coming to mind right away, but I do know part of what NeighborWorks network organizations do is like really sort of emphasize the importance of having these sort of savings because like we all know like things are going to happen right
Right.
after you purchase the home, and it's so true, like you do need to have those sort of savings. So I think um I'm not, nothing sort of popping to mind right away, like a specific example, but I know a lot of neighborhoods network organizations do work with home buyers to have those savings in addition to sort of the down payment by the time that they reach homeownership.
No, I think that is a great question because that's why I think the counseling is so
Yeah,
important. Because like,
exactly.
my daughter and her husband bought their house and everything went great, home inspection. And then we had a torrential rain here and the basement flooded. And then they had to pay to get that sealed. And that again was save that money back because
Yeah.
you don't know when. So I think, and you're always supposed to save money for that rainy day, right? So
Yes, literally. Yeah.
in this case, yes, right. So,
And one
so
thing I
go
should have
ahead.
mentioned that I forgot is like the NeighborWorks network organizations are the counseling and education they provide. They provide like HUD provides standards for like homeownership counseling, and they
Mhm.
meet those. And so I think it's important for agents to know that there is sort of like a certification process for counselors across the country. And so when they're going to a NeighborWorks network organization, they know that they're going somewhere that sort of meets those standards. But I should also mention, like, if there's not a NeighborWorks organization serving your community, HUD maintains a directory of sort of certified housing counseling agencies all across the country too. So like it's a great resource, and I think I mentioned that just to say like you can feel good about making these referrals because people are sort of putting in the work to make sure that they have the knowledge and credentials to sort of provide good service to these potential buyers.
And I
So
think that's great to for them to be certified. Then they have their only perspective is helping the client, and I think
yeah.
that's great. There's nothing self-serving in that, and that's fantastic. Well, Katie, it's been fantastic, but guess what? Unfortunately, that's all the time we have time for today. If you submit a question we didn't answer, please email me, corey.knight@silvertonmortgage.com, and be sure to respond with Katie's answers. Katie, on behalf of the audience and all of us here at Silverton Mortgage, we appreciate you spending time with us today. Your enthusiasm and passion are contagious. I mean, the fact, yeah, again, just the way you're doing so much, 17,000, that's still coming back to top. You've genuinely helped us understand the real estate opportunities much better than we did before. And hopefully agents will go out there and you'll see your website blow up. It will crash because you have so many people popping in here. But but again, Katie, thank you so much. We'll continue our speaker series as we go on. Make sure to follow Silverton Mortgage on social media for more information. Again, this will be posted in LinkedIn here if you take a look over the next few days in order to look to see maybe what you missed. But thank you so much and have a great day. And again, Katie, thank you so much